Before I begin today's video, I'd just like to give a big thank you to everyone who's been recently supporting me. We're already at over 400 subs, and every one of you is really appreciated. Keep up the nice work, and make sure to follow me on Twitch too, since I'm often up there streaming as well. Now that's out of the way, here's 5 more tips for 5 more ultimates. Hey, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, look, it happens to be that time again, where I spout information about 5 more ultimates that may or may not actually be useful. Of course, some of the information may be known to you already, but there might be some new things that you'll learn here today. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. Starting with the first ultimate. Here's some tips for D.Va's self-destruct. The ult is pretty finicky. You can use it in a lot of ways, and you can get either a bunch of kills, just one, or absolutely nothing, since a lot of heroes can counter it pretty easily. So there's obviously just sending it into the enemy team, which is simple and sometimes effective, but there are other ways to be sneakier with it. There are a lot of little places you can stand and launch your bomb against that will make it scrape against the wall before launching out. This shortens the time that the enemy has to react once they see the bomb, and could let you get some sneaky kills. If you're looking for some of the best positions to launch D.Va bombs, there's a great video made a really long time ago by a YouTuber by the name of Level 5 Pidgey. It doesn't cover the new maps obviously, but still, it all applies the same way even to today's patch. To find it, you can click that card in the top right that just popped up, or you can find it in the description for when you're done watching this video. There are also a couple more things that are good to know. If you're aiming D.Va's bomb straight up, I found that the best time to start the fuse is right about when there are 3/4 of booster's fuel left. This gives it ample height when it explodes and will end up giving it a bigger area coverage since the height is taller than Ryan is, so his shield can only protect people under him. It's also much harder for the enemy Mei to wall off and protect her team from it. Time for ultimate number 2. Let's take a look at High Noon. Now, McCree's High Noon often gets countered by literally every single hero in at least one way. It's a much shorter list of heroes that don't counter him than the ones that do. One of the biggest mistakes I see is McCrees that go off to a High Noon by themselves without any backup. From a safe distance and without enemy snipers, this can work sometimes, but most often it won't. When you want a High Noon, the best place to be for more than 1 or 2 kills is to stick with your team and find high ground near them. In some situations this isn't entirely possible, like on 2CP for instance, but on payloads it gives you some higher viewpoint and lets your team distract the enemy while staying a safe distance from disruption abilities. Most of the time I actually recommend trying to grab just the squishies with High Noon. Don't try and get the tanks too, since they take too long to build up and you'll probably get noticed by then. If you're feeling ballsy and you don't want to stick with your team, the best position is on the high ground, where it's harder for enemies to kill you. I mean, obviously, right? But here's the kicker. Try falling off the platform when you plan on shooting. This will mess up a deflecting Genji's aim, and hopefully a D.Va's defense matrix positioning too. Hopefully you can get that team kill you've always wanted to. But really, that's all there is to McCree's High Noon. If you don't want to get deflected by Genji, keep him out of your view unless he's standing in the middle of it, then you're kinda screwed and you have to wait it out. If you're at serious threat of getting murdered in High Noon, just drop and get to safety. I know it seems obvious, and well it is. Did you expect more? No, it's just, yeah, don't throw your life away on the off chance you don't die, because you probably will. Alright, ultimate number 3. Moira's Coalescence is actually more broken than you'd think. Right, so we can do a lot of damage, right? And you know it can do a lot of heals, so yeah, that's the pretty basic stuff. But if your team is ever caught in a Graviton without a Zenyatta, you have the chance of still saving them. Since Moira is one of the few heroes that can slip out of a grav using her Fade, you can use Coalescence on your team to keep them from dying for the most part. If the enemy has a Hanzo, you can try to work something out if you have an Ana, giving your team a budget transcendence that also takes less time to recharge, meaning it can probably be used for every single grav, and without gravs. The 50% bonus to healing can give Moira 210 healing per second to every single teammate, so a Hanzo ultimate combined with a Graviton will do 305.5 damage per second. I know, it doesn't take into account the other damage dealt by the enemy team, but at least you won't get stack wiped, okay? It's better than nothing, and I recommend doing it when you can. Your team will take roughly 90 or so damage per second, but the Ana nade will hopefully be enough to keep some people up with that burst healing. And she can heal people too during the grav. So don't give up when there's a Graviton, you might just be able to survive it. Of course, using a Lucio sound barrier as well will guarantee survival, but I digress. Let's just move on to the next ultimate. Alrighty, ultimate number 4. Widowmaker's Infrasight. Well, there's not really much to be said for it, it's kind of useless to be completely honest. One of the only strategic things you can do is let your Hanzo throw his Dragon Strike through a wall when he knows where the enemy team is, and that's about it. I mean, it's useful for a lot of other offensive ultimates, like if your Genji is using his blade and is looking for targets, your sights will help him to find victims. Other than that, try mostly using it when you suspect there's an enemy flanker, or when the enemy Widowmaker uses hers so she doesn't get the jump on you in the Widow v Widow duel. And with that kind of disappointing tip, let's move on to the last ultimate for the day. Now, what I see a lot of Brigitte players doing is armoring up before a fight, which it's good and all since it gives the team 600 extra hit points, but I just feel like there's so much more you can be doing with it. I think it's severely underrated as a comboing offensive support ultimate. And all those words complicatedly put together essentially can be imagined like this. If your Genji's going in like an idiot with his blade whipped out, he's probably going to die. Here's your opportunity. You can give him 150 healing / 75 armor with your E, and then bring up your rally. Your Inspire combined with your rally gives him the equivalent of 46 health points / armor per second, which is a tad under Mercy's 50 healing per second. Yeah, you can actually do a lot as a healer sustaining your allies who use their offensive ultimates. This can be done with all kinds of heroes like Reinhardt, Soldier, Roadhog, you name it, it can probably be useful when combined with their ultimate. All this just to say that you should probably 100% be popping it in the middle of fights. It can save allies and provide a more powerful offensive or defensive since the armor keeps building after the damage has been taken. This also takes care of a problem that all healers deal with, which is something called overhealing, or in this case, over-armoring. If the armor stops stacking, your ultimate is lacking. That's all you need to know to get the most out of Rally. Well, that's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, and you want to see more tips for 5 ultimates, make sure to drop a like down below as it really helps me out and helps to grow the channel. Of course, leaving a dislike is just fine as well. Either way, you obviously enjoy Overwatch as you clicked on this video for whatever reason, so why not subscribe, as I love Overwatch too, and these videos are made weekly. Also, make sure to turn notifications on with the click of a bell so you can leave that first comment that you've always wanted to. This is Carter signing off, and as always, have a fantastic day.